Hey everyone, this is Karen Waksman, founder of Retail MBA. Today we're going to be talking about selling to the Vitamin Shop. So if you have a great consumer product that you think should be in their stores, this little training will give you some things to think about and how to get started today. So with that said, let's get started on today's training. So the Vitamin Shop is a retailer that sells vitamins and similar products for people interested in health. They have over 700 stores that they're responsible for. And the thing I like about the Vitamin Shop is that they're pretty niche. And if you obviously have a supplement product or something like that, it could be a great place to get your name out there because obviously it sounds pretty exciting if you're a supplement company or something and you're selling to the Vitamin Shop. And also because they have 700 stores that they're responsible for, they have tremendous buying power, which means you can make many millions of dollars from them if they say yes to your product. The tricky part, though, with the Vitamin Shop is that they're not huge stores and they are hyper focused on the supplement industry, basically. And that actually makes them a little bit difficult to sell to because all of your competitors are trying to reach out to them. So you're going to have to come up with an interesting way to get the buyer to pay attention to you and ultimately get them interested in your product. Additionally, when it is supplements, they definitely are very careful about what they put in their stores. And so there's a lot of scrutiny to make sure that your stuff is clean, that you're not going to ruin their lives and get them in a lot of trouble. So you're going to have to make sure that your supplement or whatever it is that you're selling to them has all of the certifications that you need in order to sell foods that isn't or items that are ingested into people's systems. So the bottom line is you have to really make sure that you're prepared for this type of category and industry because there are regulations when someone could die from something that they ingest from your product. So make sure that you understand your industry as a whole and that you got all the appropriate certifications. Also, when you're dealing with a 700 chain store, you have to remember that they're going to need you to mass produce your product. So whoever you work with is going to have to make sure that their manufacturing is set up appropriately and that you're not going to mess with people again through your manufacturer because you could have the greatest intention, but also it could backfire if your manufacturer is doing some yucky things. So you have to really make sure that you are working with an appropriate manufacturer who's established and is sourcing their stuff ethically and all the things included in that, which also leads me to explain that you're going to need a little bit more liability insurance because you are dealing with an industry that, again, could be something where you get sued. So obviously, if someone's ingesting your product and they could get hurt, insurance covers that. So you want to make sure that you have the appropriate insurance, and the buyer's going to want to know all of these things before you even work with them. So again, there's a lot of regulations in regards to selling these types of products that are adjustable to these retailers like the Vitamin Shop. Now, with that said, one way that you could sell to the Vitamin Shop is through their private label brand. What that means is you could actually sell to Vitamin Shop but not put your name on the packaging or the box. The reason I mention this is because sometimes it's a little bit easier to sell to one of these types of chains where they are hyper niched on food items and so forth. They tend to have a lot more private label products. Why? Because they're stringent and they'll check on your manufacturer and so forth, and it would be under their name. So it's kind of making the client feel safe. And generally, it's a little bit of a reduced price for the customer who's buying the Vitamin Shop brand name. What that means is you could conceivably sell to the Vitamin Shop under their brand name, under their packaging, but it's your product. They do this all the time. It's called company owned or private label. And the reason they're willing to do that is because they don't always want to be the manufacturer and handling the shipping and stuff from wherever they're buying from. And a lot of times it's time consuming and additional resources involved in getting branded company to be willing to private label the products and put it under their brand name and so forth. So the bottom line is these retailers really like to buy manufactured goods from people like you and then repackage it. It's a lot easier for them, and you deal with all the manufacturing issues, all the other stuff, and they're just buying from you. It's a lot faster a lot of times. They don't always want to source all of their own resources. Plus, if you are a retailer and you're putting a lot of different products in their stores, they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket, meaning they source everything, because what happens if their sourcing supplies go under? There's all sorts of reasons why a company likes private label and company owned products. So the great news is, if you're interested in selling to the Vitamin Shop and you're okay with your name not being on the packaging, it's a very tremendous opportunity, because they tend to put those manufacturers on all their store shelves, because you don't have to fight against other brands with the name that they don't know and so forth. So that is a business decision. You don't have to sell to them under private label, but that is something that you could do to generate money very quickly. Very many companies who do private label make many, many millions of dollars. At one point in my career, I sold accessories and jewelry to retailers, and we use it under their name, so it was never our name on the packaging. And most of the time it was out of necessity, because the retailers refused to buy anything unless it was private label. And to be honest with you, we made so much money doing that. The people that I worked with who manufactured these products didn't mind at all, because they made so much money. So it's definitely a revenue opportunity. Vitamin Shoppe has over 8,000 SKUs currently that they sell in their stores. And so again, there's many ways to sell to them, but private label is probably a very good chunk of their money, because again, when the customer walks in the store, they like to feel safe. And if the retailer approved these brand names under their brand name, then they are more inclined to buy. But please note, private label doesn't mean that you're not going to have to provide them a very good deal for that opportunity, because they're going to look for a deeper discount. And that's unfortunate, because you're paying for shelf space essentially through using their brand name, versus if it was your brand on their store shelves, they're a little bit more lenient in terms of higher priced items, because they're buying the brand. They're not necessarily buying the discount, which is usually the private label option. So I hope that makes sense. If you want to learn how to approach, pitch, and sell to the Vitamin Shoppe and other similar retailers, please take a look at the links below. We provide content on how to do that today. We have been in the business for the last 20 something years selling to chain stores, and for the last 13 or so years, we've taught well over 100,000 companies on how to approach, pitch, and sell to retailers like the Vitamin Shoppe, and have seen tremendous success in our clients' businesses, and we'd love to do that for you. So please take a look at what we do, and there are links listed below. This is Karen Waksman, Retail MBA. Hope this helped.